think I'll ever not be one. Even when the dozen grays sprouting from my temple take hold and spread like a sterling fungus across my scalp. Even when the skin on my hands is loose as a duvet, draped across my knuckles, even when I know everything there is to know about heartbreak or envy or the mortality of my parents, I think even then I'll want to be called girl. No matter the mouth it comes from or how they mean it, girl. The curling smoke after a sparkler spatters into dark, girl. Sweet spoon of crystal sugar at the bottom of my coffee, girl. Whole mouth of whipped cream at the birthday party, say, girl, I think I'll never die. I'll never stop running through sprinklers or climbing out of open windows. I'll never pass up a jar of free dum-dums. I'll never stop ripping out the hangnail with my teeth. I'm a good girl, bad girl, dream girl, sad girl, girl next door sunbathing in the driveway. I want to be them all at once. I want to be all the girls I've ever loved, mean girls, shy girls, loud girls, my girls, all of us angry on our porches, rolled tobacco resting on our bottom lips. Our bodies are the only things we own. Leave our kids with nothing when we die. We'll still be girls then too. We'll still be pretty, still be loved, still be soft to the touch, pink lip and powdered nose in the casket, a dozen sobbing men in stiff suits. Yes, even then we are girls. Especially then we are girls, silent and dead and still the life of the party. Thank you. Wow, thanks for being here. This is surreal. I wrote this book a while ago over a long period of time. After I realized I had developed a really unhealthy obsession with true crime and that it was seriously affecting my life, as I'm sure some of you relate to. But also, while I was kind of investigating that feeling, I realized that feeling of fear and maybe paranoia had existed in me long before that and was part of the reason I was drawn to this genre in the first place. And that my fear was just a product of being alive and existing in the world. And so while writing this book, I spent several months just sort of diving into that emotion instead of trying to fight it, which was really unhealthy, but that's how good art gets made. So now I'm in therapy, and I live near the ocean. So I'm like happy, but I'm not doing anything. It's a problem. I have like a really nice partner. I'm considering ruining my life soon, and then you'll experience another book. So this is called My Mother Says I Wasn't a Bad Girl, I Was Just Bored, after Kim Adonizio. I wasn't the real thing. The bad girl by instinct who wouldn't even call herself bad because that would mean at one point she considered what it might look like to be good. I was something less lovable. Woke up before the bad girl sleeping next to me and tinkered with her makeup till noon. Followed her out the window so I could mimic the way she bent her legs. Monkey fucked every cigarette so I didn't get caught fumbling with the flint wheel on some dude's bick. I swung the bat in the right direction. Undid enough belts to fill a resume right, but I never hailed the ride on my own. Never instigated the fight. Never promised a man I was good and meant it. The bad girl calls her body what it is, the shit. I called my body unfamiliar until it was looked at and then channeled everything I'd learned from the bad girl. How to arch the back, curl the toes. Don't be ashamed of the veins in your neck, she said once. They mean you're feeling something. The bad girl wants everyone around her to feel something and she wants to see proof. Once we smoked PCP from a Dr. Pepper can and lay in the dark talking about our stomachs. She was frustrated that she couldn't see anything, so she had me hold a lighter again above my torso while she pulled up my shirt and watched as my belly rose and fell each time I breathed her in. Thanks. You know when you're not sure if you want to be someone or you want to fuck someone? You know, when you're just staring at someone in health class and you're like, do I want to? And then you're like, oh, do you know what I'm saying? And then you're having sex with them and you're like, oh, it was that one. I wanted to, okay. That's what that's about. So while I was writing this book, I was thinking a lot about both like true crime that I was consuming and also like true crime I had experienced in my own life, and the way that dictated how I survived and interacted with my community. So I grew up in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and there was no shortage of violence against women in any community. But I was very aware of it, and as a teenage girl, it really affected the way that I understood what it meant to like just simply be. So when I was, I think 13, one of my favorite artists came to Albuquerque and did a show, and at the show, a girl was murdered by a custodian and stuffed behind a vending machine and wasn't discovered for 4 days. And when I was a teenager, the only thing I took from that, so the artist vowed to never come back to Albuquerque, which, as if that's only an Albuquerque problem, okay. But anyway, the only thing I took from that as a young teenager was just being so upset that this artist wasn't gonna come back. I didn't even think about the rest of it, and that's the honesty of my teenage brain. So this is called We All Got Burnt That Summer. A boy has just pressed his mouth against me in a fast food restaurant bathroom. I think he would love me if he let himself, if he could get past our age difference, I say. I'm talking about my favorite musician, a rapper twice my age with acne scars and black hair, a weathered face I want to know. The boy tells me the last time Atmosphere came here was a year before, when I was still a child, when I was young enough to believe every year was urgent and couldn't imagine being alive when my ID expired. The boy tells me he was there at the concert. His breath smells like the small fist I had unfurled into his throat. I like that my body is his breath now, that I know who I am while he talks. He'll never come back, the boy says, because a girl was murdered that night, the night of the show, by a custodian and went undiscovered behind a vending machine for 4 days. Everything is tragic. Everything has either already happened or never will. The boy keeps saying it could have been me, as if that concert, that night, was my only shot at dead girl stardom. And now that I've just barely missed the grip of some quiet janitor, I've got a long life ahead, no hog-tied future waiting for me at the end of an alley. But the truth is, I don't feel relief. I don't feel safe. I am mad at her for dying. I want him to come back. I want him to find me. So, yeah, all right, I'm just gonna keep going. This is called My Grandmother Asks Why I Don't Trust Men. I'm not good at titles, so I just say what it is. Do you know? Okay, I don't like surprises. One time I had a boyfriend be like, I have a surprise for you, and I was like so fucking angry that he had a surprise for me that I bullied him into telling me what it was, and it turned out it was horseback riding, and I was like, what? And then I was like, well, I have to wear a helmet, and are people gonna be like cheering me on while I learn a new skill? And he was like, yeah, but it's gonna be sunset. And I was like, I'm not going. And he was like, it's your birthday. And I was like, I'm not going. And then we broke up. So this is called My Grandmother Asks Why I Don't Trust Men. He might be here. I hope he's not here. I hope he is here. Oh God, he might be here. I forgot he lived in New York. Hey, Justin. Okay. If you're here, I love you. You were the nicest partner I ever had. Okay, truthfully. Thank you for the surprise. I still haven't horseback ridden. I just learned how to scuba dive and had a panic attack because I didn't like people watching me. I was like down there like, up. Okay. I saw a whale though. My grandmother asked why I don't trust men. If you have a son, how will you love him? She is pacing the living room while the Thanksgiving Day parade plays behind her, a montage of inflated cartoon bodies floating slow down 6th Avenue, smiles painted onto their faces. I consider not responding. I consider explaining that I can love him and not trust him. I consider saying that I won't love him at all, just to scare her. Instead, I say, if I am ever murdered, like body found in a ditch, mouth stuffed with dirt, stalking around my neck, identified by my toenails, Please don't go looking for a guilty woman. When my father and I go for a jog on the arroyo and he runs ahead, leaving me alone with my breath and an empty trail, I keep running, but now from something. When I cross a coyote drinking from the ditch, I am relieved it is an animal. When I see him, my father, stretching against a tree, I scream at him for leaving me alone. He grabs my shoulders as if to shake my loose parts into place. What are you afraid of? He asks. Why are you so afraid? I don't know why I'm doing this. Playing show and tell with the times I've walked fast in the dark. Maybe I see myself in the worst of it. Maybe if I can imagine myself in the shallow water, you should too. Maybe I am tired of hearing people talk about the murder of girls like it is both beautiful and out of the ordinary. I ask the hotel attendant to put me in a room near the elevator. I listen to my best friend breathe on the line while she walks home. Sometimes I search woman's body found in when I visit a new city. Then I learn her name, her age, where they found her, under a baseboard, limbs folded into a closet. I learn her hobbies, that she loved to sing. I watch the security footage they discovered of her last moments. I watch her move and breathe like the rest of us. I watch her look over her shoulder 3 times before walking out of view. Thank you. So this is a poem that's just a list of all the times men laughed at me while I was afraid. I encourage you to make that list if it's something you have in you. I think it's a really common list. Maybe we should make an anthology. Okay, so it's called Manslaughter, which split in half is man's laughter. Yeah, okay. I just had the word manslaughter written in the notes on my phone for like 4 months because I was like, there has to be something there. And there was too much shit. All right, this is called manslaughter. 1, I told a joke to the babysitter's father and he laughed so hard he fell off the swing. He laughed so hard he asked me to come inside. 2, the first time a boy kissed me, his friends laughed, their torsos throbbing to the same beat, while he lodged his tongue inside my throat until I choked. 3, laughter requires modification in our breathing patterns. Example, while I struggle to breathe, so does the man. 4, at the bakery where I work, my boss asks me to visit him in his office 3 times a day, where he details the things he would like to do to my teenage body. 5, today, a policeman sits next to him. When my boss says, I would fuck you against a wall, the cop laughs so hard he has to hold on to his duty belt. 6, the boys make it a game to throw me off the jet ski as close to the rocks as they can get without killing me. 7, the boys make it a game to leave me in the park at night until I think they're not coming back. 8, the boys make it a game to hold me underwater. 9, laughter does not replace a sentence, it punctuates it. Where someone might pause to cough or breathe, laughter takes its place. Example, when I gasp for air, the man laughs. When I barter, the man laughs. When I scream, the man laughs. 10, at the house party, I am asleep in the guest room. I am woken up by pain. On the floor, there is a boy I do not know with his hand reaching up towards the bed, his fingers shoved inside me, pulsing. He is not looking at me. He might as well be fumbling for his keys in the dark. 11, I leave the room wrapped in a sheet. The boys at the party love this. A panicked girl naked under their linens. When I tell them, they storm the bedroom, pick up the boy by his arms and legs like a heavy net of dead mackerel and toss him out onto the porch. They are laughing so hard they cannot ask me if I am okay. They cannot help me find my clothes. 12, the boys make it a game. 13, my boyfriend laughs while another man claims the name of a serial killer. He tells us he can lead us to the bodies, and my boyfriend laughs harder. 14, I am screaming behind my boyfriend's locked door. When I get out, his roommate sits on the sofa laughing at the television turned all the way up. 15, years later, the roommate sees me at a bar. He does not say hello, just laughs and says, if I had a girl who looked like you, I would have locked her in my room too. 16, laughter is not about humor. It is about acknowledging a shared joy. Laughter is about bonding. Example, when I hear men laughing, I do not enter the room. I crawl home in the dark. Thank you. So this book obviously is about true crime, which is a deeply flawed genre. It's a genre that, while I think on the surface can be seen as seeking justice for women who've been wronged, I also think it's very selective about which women it pays attention to. I don't think that, I know that. So much of true crime, or the true crime that makes headlines, is focused on young, cis white women who in many cases have been murdered or suspected to be murdered by a man of color. The reality of the situation is young cis white women are least likely to be victims of homicide. Trans women of color are more likely to be victims of homicide than any other social group. When they are written about, their dead names are often used. And I was really aware of this while researching for this book, and came to the realization that it's a privilege to have your body looked for at all. And that's a strange privilege to have, but it is one. So I started writing found poems made up of lines from articles when I was kind of seeing through the coded language that so many of these articles were using to signify that a person was important, and how so often importance just really meant whiteness. So this is a found poem based on People magazine's 1997 coverage of the JonBenet Ramsey murder. It's called Murder of a Little Beauty. Little Miss Christmas dead in the basement. Ripples of shock quickly spread through the nation. A rope and a blanket found near the victim. Blood and flesh of Miss West Virginia. The perfect father, the perfect mother, a private jet for the perfect brother. Duct tape, a cord twisted round her neck. A primetime interview on CNN. Flirtatious, provocative, 6-year-old kid, Miss America Royale in 1996. Elegant, lavish, gets all the attention. A ransom note, as much as John's pension. Dab your eye, we know you like it gory. Only the blondes get a cover story. Girls go missing right around the corner, but she needs a tiara for us to mourn her. Naturally attractive, exceptionally bright. How many ways can we say the word white? Okay. I just have a few more for you, and then Melissa's gonna come back. Give it up for Melissa. Isn't she great? All those dreams also were sent to me in screenshots. The day after she dreamed them. Also, if you haven't watched her poem, I'm Scared But I've Been Here Before, it's beautiful and worth it. I mean video. Did I say poem? Whatever. Same thing. So this is a poem called She Lit Up Every Room She Walked Into. It's based off every article I've ever read about a dead girl. She lit up every room she walked into, but never asked to be the center of attention. Just came in, always with a smile on her face, excited to see the people who loved her, which was everyone she ever met. And did I mention she was always happy? Never, ever, ever was she in a bad mood. In fact, I don't think anyone ever saw her not smiling. Did you? I heard from a girl at church that she actually had a smile surgically implanted into her face. I mean, just the most bubbly, cheerful girl you've ever met. Everyone had a crush on her, but no one actually dated her, which made her that much more desirable. She was celibate, I heard, but somehow knew exactly how to make everyone want her. She was like that. Such a bright future, so bright we could barely even look at it without permanently damaging our eyesight. She could have done anything she wanted. A nurse, a lawyer, a silent wife. Talk about a girl with goals. And on top of all of that, she was a track star. Volunteered at the soup kitchen on weekends and had never disappointed her parents. Honestly, come to think of it, there was no one in the world who deserved this less than she did. Of all people, I can think of 12 people who deserved this more than she did. It's almost like a sacrifice. Maybe the world just didn't deserve her. Maybe none of us did. So wholesome, so vibrant, so alive, so obedient, so demure, so petite, so tender, so strong, so pretty, so prude, so brave, so quiet, so butchered, so blue. I guess the silver lining is that now the bar isn't so high for the rest of us. We all look better with her dead. Just kidding. Did you hear she was clutching the fence when they found her? She fought like hell, apparently. It's a shame it was my birthday party and I forgot to invite her. It's a shame no one heard her screaming. The music was just so loud, and we were all singing along. Okay. I have, what time is it? What? Oh, it's on West Coast time. Okay, I've got some time, a little bit of time. So this is, there's several poems in the book that are from the perspective of or about Eileen Wuornos. Do you guys know who Eileen Wuornos is? All right, so she was like one of the first women serial killers, I guess. Where is it? Okay. But I have complicated feelings about that title. I think Eileen Wuornos, at the end of the day, was a woman that was trying to survive and trying to defend herself. And so this is a poem about her. Eileen Wuornos takes a lover home. So she's a Pisces, right? Which means she's already in love with a girl at the other end of the bar who drinks whiskey neat and has a mullet just like hers, only red. Pisces love to see some version of themselves in everything. Pisces only love things that say something about who they are. Eileen is here at this biker bar in Daytona, Florida called the Zodiac because she wants to put something wet and alive in her mouth. I don't want to talk about the men who tried to kill Eileen or how she killed them first. I don't want to talk about how self-defense doesn't make you a serial killer, about how she said if 100 men had tried to rape her, she would have killed 100 men. Tonight, I want to talk about two girls kissing against a wall in an alley behind a lesbian bar. I want to talk about the fact that there are almost no lesbian bars left in the country, and one theory as to why is that queer women are more likely to fall in love and move in together and ultimately stop going to bars. I was sad once that there were no bars for gay girls in my town, and then I remembered that love can kill an industry. If I ever look back and think I should have spent more time going out with my friends, at least I will know I spent most of my life in love. I want to talk about how Eileen and Tyria went home and stopped going to Zodiac, how Zodiac is out of business. I want to talk about how they never went on a date. They simply went home together and didn't leave the house for a week. When Tyria suspected Eileen had killed more than one man, it was because Eileen brought her gifts that she couldn't have afforded to buy. I want to talk about how in the end, Tyria said we were more like sisters than lovers. In the end, Tyria was promised immunity by the cops in a phone call, tapped by police. Eileen called Tyria her right arm, her left arm, her breath. How all Tyria could say back was, please, tell them. Please say that you did it. But Eileen didn't want to talk about it. She wanted to talk about love. So Tyria would hang up, unsuccessful, and the officer would tell her to say it like this, tell her she'll get off, tell her it won't be so bad, but how each time, for 3 days straight, the police listened to Eileen talk about love, about her right arm, her left arm, her breath, her breath, her breath. Thank you. I'm also a Pisces. Okay. Melissa's a Virgo. And like I was on my way here and she was like, aren't you gonna be, she was like, have you landed yet? And I was like, no, I'm on the plane. And then she was like, aren't you gonna be late? And I was like, maybe. And she's like, when does the event start? And I was like, at some time. And she was like, are you gonna be hungry? Do you need me to order you food? And I was like, perhaps. And then I realized, like, that's so true to our astrological signs. Like, I'm just like, maybe the event is going to happen. What is reality? You know? And Melissa, like, has it in her calendar. She's been, like, reading my book and, like, re-listening to episodes of Say More and, like, studying our friendship. And I'm, like, on a plane watching Us, being like, I know that beach, you know? It's so weird. Okay. I do. I watched Us. I live in Santa Cruz, and I know that beach. Okay. I did, Melissa. I knew that beach. Okay. This is called Ode to Pink. My favorite color is Pepto-Bismol. My favorite color is amoxicillin. My favorite color is the calamine bottle. I want to be sick just to swallow you. Offer up my most blood-filled parts and rub pink on the itchy pink bites. Everyone keeps talking about their muses, and I want one too, but I don't believe in people, so I nominate you. Always using your best baby voice to get the discount, but slurring your words the whole time. Something I learned in middle school after Elise smashed Vivian's head into the sidewalk twice so she got 2 bumps like horns, and everyone called her the devil, is that you never know someone is a fake bitch. You can just feel it, and that's reason enough to hate them. But I like you for it. I liked Vivian too, to be honest. I liked the way you bait and switch, Ponzi scheme doing a pirouette, boiler room boutique tool, if rubbed hard enough against the skin starts to feel like sandpaper. The way all of our wounds begin with you, I'm not looking for empowerment. I don't care about femininity or whatever. I just like the things they call you when you change. Coral, bubblegum, millennial, hot. I like the way everyone has an opinion and all you have is a comeback. How you show up to the party with a new haircut and everyone convinces themselves they've never met you, offers to pour you a drink, wants to try on your fabulous coat. I fall for the marketing. I bought the mace for girls, the toolbox. If I could make it so, I would make it so. My whole house coated in a layer of you. If my roommate wasn't a goth, we'd have a couch the color of flamingo, fridge like a dipped and dyed Easter egg. Inside, only rosé and sliced grapefruit. Himalayan salt in the cabinet, beet juice smeared across the counter. My dainty assassin. High stakes, rare steak, wisest rookie on the team. If the thing I hate is the color of you, I love it. There's a pink switchblade on my counter. If a man holds it to my throat one day, I'll make an exception for you. I'll smile and say, do it. This is called All of the Missing Girls Are Hanging Out Without Us. Let this be the folklore, not in a field, not in a river, not mouth half open, knock-kneed under the tall grass behind the baseball field, not in a park or at the bottom of a drained pond, not in their boyfriend's trunks, their boyfriend's closets, or between the floorboards in his house. They are alive, but not in a basement, not scanning a grocery store bulletin board for a picture of their young and gone face. No, the girls are having a contest. Who can catch the most tiniola moths in a mason jar? Who can sprint back to the barnyard fastest to set it on the kitchen windowsill during the golden hour? The amber light and its brief devour. The only prize is that the winner gets to see it first. A hoard, chestnut-colored and coated in honey, slapping against the glass walls and tin roof, unbroken by the human hand. All of the girls will flock around it, a mob of soft and angry, a lantern alive, kaleidoscope of wings. For a moment, they are all in the same place until dark, when the girls have lost interest and gone to sleep beneath each other's warm pits and legs, at which point the oldest girl will carry the jar out onto the porch and unscrew its lid, let the gentle bodies spill out like wedding doves, frantic and blooming into night. Thank you.